Alex Chen stood at the window of her small apartment, gazing out at the sprawling cityscape of New Beijing. The year 2157 had brought humanity to the stars, but Earth remained the heart of human civilization. As a junior diplomat in the Terran Diplomatic Corps, Alex had always dreamed of venturing beyond the solar system, but her assignments had kept her firmly planted on her home planet. The soft chime of her comm unit broke her reverie. Incoming transmission from unknown origin. The AI assistant announced. Alex furrowed her brow. Unknown origin. In this age of hyper-connected galactic communication, that was unusual. Accept transmission, she commanded, turning to face the holographic display that flickered to life in the center of her living room. The image that materialized was unlike anything Alex had seen before. A tall, slender being with iridescent skin and elongated features stood before her. Its eyes, large and almond-shaped, seemed to shimmer with an inner light. "Greetings, Alexandra Chen of Earth," the being spoke, its voice a melodious trill that seemed to resonate in the air. "I am Zorax, High Counselor of Zephyria. We have much to discuss." Alex's diplomatic training kicked in, masking her surprise. "Greetings, High Counselor. How may I assist you?" Zorax's expression shifted, displaying an emotion Alex couldn't quite decipher. "It is not how you may assist us, but rather how we may assist you in claiming your birthright." "My birthright?" Alex echoed, confusion evident in her voice. "Yes," Zorax confirmed. "You, Alexandra Chen, are the last living descendant of the ancient Zephyrian bloodline of Cathor. Our genetic scans have confirmed this with absolute certainty." Alex's mind reeled. Zephyria was a distant world, one of the first alien civilizations humanity had contacted nearly 50 years ago. But relations had always been cordial, if somewhat distant. The idea that she could have any connection to this world seemed absurd. "There must be some mistake," Alex protested. "I'm human. My family has lived on Earth for generations." Zorax's eyes glimmered with what might have been amusement. "The universe is vast and full of mysteries, young one. Your ancestor, Cathor, ventured to Earth millennia ago. His bloodline has thinned over the generations, but in you, it has manifested once more." The High Counselor's image shifted, displaying a series of complex genetic maps and historical records. Alex's eyes widened as she saw her own DNA compared to ancient Zephyrian samples, the similarities unmistakable. "But why contact me now?" Alex asked, her diplomatic calm beginning to crack under the weight of this revelation. "Zephyria faces a time of great change," Zorax explained, his tone grave. "The return of Cathor's heir could be the key to preserving our way of life. We formally invite you to Zephyria, to learn of your heritage and to take your place among us." Alex's heart raced. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to not only visit a distant world, but to play a role in shaping its future. Yet doubt nagged at her. Why her? What did they really want? "This is a lot to process," Alex said carefully. "I'll need time to consider your offer." Zorax nodded, a gesture surprisingly human. "Of course. But time is of the essence. Zephyria's future hangs in the balance. We await your decision. Alexandra Chen, heir of Cathor." With that, the transmission ended, leaving Alex alone in her apartment, the city lights of New Beijing twinkling beyond her window. She sank into her chair, mind whirling with possibilities and questions. An heir to an alien bloodline. A key role in the future of a distant world. It seemed like something out of the science fiction stories she had loved as a child. Yet the evidence was there, undeniable and beckoning. As the night deepened, Alex knew sleep would elude her. She had a decision to make, one that would not only change her life, but potentially alter the course of two worlds. The stars beyond her window seemed to shine a little brighter, calling her to adventure. The journey to Zephyria took 3 weeks, even with the advanced faster-than-light travel technology. Alex spent most of that time in cryo-sleep, awakening occasionally to review diplomatic protocols and what little information Earth had on Zephyrian culture. As the ship began its descent through Zephyria's atmosphere, Alex's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The planet's surface came into view, a breathtaking panorama of sweeping purple plains and towering crystalline structures that seemed to grow organically from the landscape. Twin suns cast a golden glow over everything, their light refracted and amplified by the crystal towers. As the ship touched down on a shimmering landing pad, Alex took a deep breath, straightened her diplomatic uniform, and prepared to disembark. The airlock hissed open, and she stepped out onto Zephyrian soil for the first time. A delegation awaited her, led by a figure she recognized as High Counselor Zorax. Beside him stood an array of Zephyrians, their iridescent skin shimmering in various hues. Some regarded her with obvious curiosity, others with thinly veiled skepticism. "Welcome to Zephyria, Alexandra Chen," Zorax greeted her, his voice carrying the same melodious quality it had in the holographic transmission. "We are honored by your presence." Alex bowed slightly, a gesture she hoped would translate well across cultures. "The honor is mine, High Counselor. Thank you for your invitation and your hospitality." As she straightened, she caught whispers from the assembled crowd. Her universal translator struggled with the rapid, musical Zephyrian language, but she caught fragments. "Really, Cathor's hair. Looks so human. Cannot be trusted." Zorax silenced the murmurs with a raised hand. "Come," he said to Alex. "We have much to discuss, and you must be weary from your journey." As they moved through the Crystal City, Alex marveled at the architecture. Buildings seemed to grow and shift, responding to the needs of their inhabitants. Zephyrians moved about their daily lives, some flying on gossamer wings that Alex hadn't noticed before. They arrived at a grand structure that Zorax identified as the Hall of Ancients. Inside, holographic displays showcased Zephyrian history, and at the center stood a statue of a regal figure. "Cthor," Zorax said, noting Alex's gaze. "Your ancestor. He was a visionary, the one who first suggested reaching out to other worlds. Not all agreed with his ideas at the time." Alex studied the statue, searching for any familial resemblance, but finding none. "High Counselor," she began carefully, "I'm honored by your welcome, but I must ask, what exactly is expected of me here?" Zorax's expression turned grave. "Zephyria stands at a crossroads, Alexandra. Our society has long been divided between those who wish to embrace interstellar relations and those who believe we should remain isolated. Thor's bloodline has always symbolized progress and outreach. Your presence here, as his heir, could tip the balance." Alex felt the weight of expectation settling on her shoulders. "I'm not sure I'm qualified to have such an impact on your world," she admitted. A new voice cut through the air, sharp and dismissive. "Finally, something we agree on, Earthling." Alex turned to see a Zephyrian male approaching, his skin a deep, stormy blue. Unlike the others, he wore armor that seemed to be made of living crystal. "Alexandra, this is Vexalia, commander of the Zephyrian Guard," Zorax introduced, though his tone suggested this wasn't a planned meeting. Vexalia's eyes, a piercing silver, bore into Alex. "So this is Cthor's supposed heir, a fragile human who knows nothing of our ways. This is who you expect to guide our people." "Commander," Zorax warned, but Alex held up a hand. "You're right, Commander," she said, meeting Vexalia's gaze steadily. "I don't know your ways. Not yet. But I'm here to learn, to understand, and to help if I can. I didn't ask for this heritage, but I won't shy away from the responsibility it brings." For a moment, surprise flickered across Vexalia's face, quickly replaced by a grudging respect. "Bold words. We'll see if you can live up to them." With that, he turned and strode away. Zorax sighed. "I apologize for the commander's behavior. Not everyone is enthusiastic about your arrival." Alex nodded, her diplomatic training kicking in. "Change is often met with resistance. I understand." As they continued their tour of the Hall of Ancients, Alex's mind raced. She had expected challenges, but the reality of her situation was setting in. She wasn't just a diplomat anymore. She was a symbol, a potential catalyst for change on a world she barely understood. The twin suns of Zephyria were setting as they emerged from the hall, casting long shadows across the crystal city. Alex looked out over her ancestral world, both awed and daunted by what lay ahead. One thing was certain, her life would never be the same again. The following day, Alex was escorted to the royal palace, a structure that seemed to be carved from a single massive crystal. As she approached, the surface shimmered and shifted, revealing intricate patterns and glowing conduits of energy. "The palace is alive," her guide, a young Zephyrian named Lyra, explained. "It responds to the emotions and needs of those within." Alex nodded, fascinated. "It's beautiful," she remarked, then noticed Lyra's unusual appearance. Unlike the other Zephyrians she'd met, Lyra's skin was a deep midnight blue, with swirling patterns that seemed to move of their own accord. Her eyes were a striking gold, large and expressive. Lyra caught her staring and smiled wryly. "I know, I don't look like a typical Zephyrian. It's a rare genetic variation. Some call it a deformity, others a blessing." "I think it's remarkable," Alex said honestly. Lyra's smile widened. "You're kind to say so. Come, we're expected in the grand hall." As they entered the vast chamber, Alex's breath caught in her throat. The ceiling arched impossibly high, its surface a living map of the galaxy. Zephyrian nobles milled about, their conversations creating a musical hum in the air. At the far end of the hall, seated on a crystal throne, was a figure that immediately drew Alex's attention. The Zephyrian was clearly female, with the same midnight blue skin as Lyra, but her patterns were even more intricate, forming complex geometric shapes that seemed to hold hidden meanings. "Her Royal Highness, Princess Ilara of Zephyria," a voice announced, and the hall fell silent. Alex felt a gentle push from Lyra. "Go on," she whispered. "You're expected to greet her." Heart pounding, Alex approached the throne. She bowed deeply, hoping she was following the correct protocol. "Your Highness, I am Alexandra Chen of Earth. I am honored to be in your presence." When she straightened, she found the princess studying her with intense golden eyes. "Rise, Alexandra Chen," Princess Ilara said, her voice a melody that seemed to resonate through Alex's very being. "We have much to discuss." To Alex's surprise, the princess stood and descended from her throne. "Walk with me," she commanded, leading Alex to a private balcony overlooking the crystal city. Once they were alone, Ilara's regal demeanor softened slightly. "So, you are the heir of Cathor," she mused. "You're not what I expected." Alex couldn't help but chuckle. "I've been hearing that a lot since I arrived." A small smile tugged at Ilara's lips. "No doubt. Our people are set in their ways. Change does not come easily to Zephyria." "If I may ask, Your Highness," Alex ventured, "why am I really here? Surely there's more to this than just acknowledging a long-lost bloodline." Ilara's expression turned grave. "You're perceptive, Alexandra. The truth is, Zephyria is in crisis. Our isolation has led to stagnation, and there are those who would use this to seize power for themselves." "The traditionalists that High Counselor Zorax mentioned," Alex guessed. Ilara nodded. "Led by my cousin, Prince Soren. He believes that by cutting off all contact with other worlds and returning to our ancient ways, he can make Zephyria great again." Her tone made it clear what she thought of this idea. "And where do I fit into all this?" Alex asked, though she was beginning to suspect the answer. "You, Alexandra, are a symbol," Ilara explained. "Thor's bloodline represents progress, innovation, and interstellar cooperation. Your very existence challenges the isolationist narrative." Alex frowned. "But I'm an outsider. Surely my opinion wouldn't hold much weight here." Ilara's golden eyes seemed to peer into Alex's soul. You underestimate the power of symbols, Alexandra. Already, your arrival has sparked debate and discussion among our people. You represent possibility, a bridge between worlds. As they talked, Alex noticed the swirling patterns on Ilara's skin seemed to pulse and shift, reflecting her emotions. It was mesmerizing. I want to help, Alex said finally, but I'm not sure how. I'm a diplomat, not a revolutionary. Ilara placed a hand on Alex's arm, and a jolt of energy passed between them. Sometimes, Alexandra, being a bridge is revolutionary enough. You don't need to fight our battles for us. Just be who you are, a living link between Earth and Zephyria. As the twin suns began to set, casting the crystal city in a warm golden glow, Alex felt a sense of purpose settling over her. She might not fully understand her role yet, but she was determined to do whatever she could to help Zephyria and honor her unexpected heritage. I'll do my best, Your Highness, she promised. Ilara smiled, a genuine expression that transformed her face. Please, when we're alone, call me Ilara. I think we're going to need to be friends if we're to navigate the challenges ahead. As they turned back to the Grand Hall, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that her adventure on Zephyria was only just beginning. Days turned into weeks as Alex immersed herself in Zephyrian culture and politics. She split her time between diplomatic meetings, public appearances, and private conversations with Princess Ilara. The more she learned, the more complex the situation appeared. One evening, as Alex was reviewing reports in her quarters, a soft chime indicated a visitor. To her surprise, it was Lyra, the young Zephyrian who had first guided her through the palace. Alexandra, may I come in? Lyra asked, her golden eyes darting nervously down the hallway. Of course, Alex replied, ushering her inside. Is everything all right? Lyra's midnight blue skin seemed to ripple with anxiety. No, she whispered. I've discovered something troubling. I didn't know who else to trust. Alex listened intently as Lyra revealed what she had learned. As a junior member of the royal staff, Lyra had access to various parts of the palace. Recently, she had overheard conversations and seen documents that pointed to a deeper, more dangerous plot than anyone had suspected. It's not just about isolation, Lyra explained. Prince Zoran and his followers, they're planning a coup. They want to overthrow Princess Ilara and rewrite Zephyrian history, erasing all evidence of Cathor and our past interactions with other worlds. Alex's mind raced. We need to tell the princess immediately. Lyra shook her head frantically. We can't. The palace is compromised. There are spies everywhere. We need proof before we can act. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Alex nodded. Okay, we'll gather evidence ourselves, but we need to be careful. If Zoran suspects we're onto him, he won't hesitate to eliminate us, Lyra finished grimly. Over the next few days, Alex and Lyra worked in secret, using Alex's diplomatic status as cover for their investigations. They discovered a network of conspirators that ran deep through Zephyrian society, including high-ranking officials, military leaders, and even members of the High Council. Their breakthrough came when they managed to access encrypted communications between Prince Zoran and his inner circle. The messages detailed plans for a coordinated attack on the palace, timed to coincide with an upcoming celestial event, the alignment of Zephyria's 3 moons. They're calling it the Night of Ascension, Alex murmured, reading through the decrypted files. They believe it's a sign that the time has come for Zephyria to reclaim its destiny and cut ties with the rest of the galaxy. Lyra's patterns swirled with concern. We have to warn Princess Ilara. The alignment is only 3 days away. As they hurried through the palace corridors, Alex felt a prickling sensation on the back of her neck. They were being watched. She casually glanced over her shoulder and caught a glimpse of a figure ducking behind a crystal column. We're being followed, she whispered to Lyra. Act natural. We need to lose them before we reach Ilara. The pair took a circuitous route through the palace, using secret passages Lyra had discovered during her years of service. Finally, they reached a hidden door that led directly to the princess's private chambers. Ilara was startled by their sudden appearance, but quickly composed herself as Alex and Lyra explained what they had uncovered. "I had suspected Zoran was planning something," Ilara said, her golden eyes flashing with anger. "But I never imagined it would go this far. We must act quickly." Just then, the door burst open. Commander Vexalia strode in, his crystal armor gleaming. "Your Highness, we have a situation. There are reports of unrest in the outer districts, and we've detected unauthorized communications throughout the city." Ilara's gaze met Alex's. "It seems my cousin has decided to move up his timetable. Commander, I need you to gather every loyal soldier and guard. We're going to need all the help we can get." Vexalia hesitated, his silver eyes narrowing as he looked at Alex and Lyra. "Can we trust them?" "With my life," Ilara said firmly. "Alexandra may be the key to saving our world, and Lyra has proven her loyalty beyond question." The commander nodded curtly. "As you wish, Your Highness. What are your orders?" As Ilara began outlining their defense strategy, Alex felt a mix of fear and determination. She had come to Zephyria seeking answers about her heritage, but now she found herself at the center of a conflict that would determine the planet's future. The night of Ascension was approaching, and with it, a battle that would change Zephyria forever. Alex only hoped that she was ready for the challenges ahead. The night sky of Zephyria blazed with an otherworldly light as its 3 moons aligned, casting an eerie glow over the crystal city. In the palace, Princess Ilara, Alex, Lyra, and Commander Vexalia gathered with their loyal forces, preparing for the impending attack. "Our spies report that Zoran's forces are mobilizing in the outer districts," Vexalia announced, his silver eyes gleaming with anticipation of the coming battle. "They'll likely strike at multiple points to divide our defenses." Ilara nodded, her midnight blue skin shimmering with determination. "We'll need to protect the central crystal. If Zoran gains control of it, he could rewrite our entire historical database." Alex, feeling somewhat out of her depth but determined to help, spoke up. "What about the civilian population? We need to ensure their safety." "Agreed," Ilara said. "Lyra, I want you to coordinate with the city guard to establish safe zones for civilians. Alex, you'll stay with me. Your connection to Cthor might prove crucial if we need to access any ancient defenses." As if on cue, a thunderous explosion rocked the palace. Alarms blared, and the living crystal walls pulsed with warning patterns. "It's begun," Vexalia growled, drawing his energy blade. "To your positions, everyone." The next few hours were a blur of chaos and conflict. Zoran's forces, clad in armor that seemed to absorb light, poured into the city from all directions. They wielded weapons that fired bolts of dark energy, capable of temporarily disrupting the living crystal structures. Alex found herself in the thick of the battle, relying on her diplomatic skills to coordinate between different factions of loyalist forces. Her Earth combat training, once considered rudimentary by Zephyrian standards, proved surprisingly effective against opponents who had never faced human fighting styles. As she and Ilara fought their way towards the central crystal chamber, Alex caught glimpses of the larger battle unfolding across the city. Lyra soared overhead, her wings spread wide as she directed civilian evacuation efforts. Vexalia led a contingent of royal guards in a fierce defense of the palace's outer perimeter, his crystal armor gleaming as he cut down waves of attackers. Finally, they reached the entrance to the central crystal chamber. The massive doors, usually responsive to Ilara's touch, remained stubbornly sealed. Zoran must have already breached the security protocols, Ilara said, her voice tight with worry. "We need to find another way in." Alex studied the door, noticing faint etchings that seemed familiar. With a jolt, she realized they matched patterns she had seen on the statue of Cthor in the Hall of Ancients. "I think I can open it," she said, stepping forward. She placed her hand on the door, focusing on the connection she felt to this alien world and her ancient ancestor. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum, the etchings began to glow. The doors shimmered and dissolved, revealing the chamber beyond. Inside, they found Prince Soren standing before the central crystal, his hands hovering over its surface as he attempted to interface with it. He turned as they entered, his eyes widening in surprise. "So the half-breed and the abomination have come to stop me," he sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "You're too late. Zephyria's true destiny is at hand." Ilara stepped forward, her golden eyes blazing. "The only destiny at hand is your defeat, cousin. Stand down, and we may yet show mercy." Zoran laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Mercy? From you? No, dear cousin. It is I who will reshape Zephyria's future. The age of isolation begins now." He thrust his hands into the crystal, which pulsed with dark energy. The entire chamber shuddered, and Alex felt a wave of disorientation wash over her. "He's rewriting history," Ilara cried. "We have to stop him." Without thinking, Alex rushed forward, grabbing Zoran's arm. The moment she touched him, a surge of energy coursed through her body. Visions flashed before her eyes. Generations of Zephyrians, stretching back to Cthor himself. She heard Ilara's voice, distant but urgent. "Alex, use your connection to Cthor. Counter Zoran's commands." Focusing all her will, Alex placed her free hand on the crystal. She felt the weight of Zephyrian history, the hopes and dreams of countless generations. With every fiber of her being, she pushed back against Zoran's dark vision. The crystal pulsed, caught between two opposing forces. Light and shadow battled within its crystalline structure as Alex and Zoran struggled for control. In that moment, suspended between past and future, the fate of Zephyria hung in the balance. The central crystal chamber pulsed with conflicting energies as Alex and Prince Zoran remained locked in their mental and physical struggle. Ilara watched, her golden eyes wide with a mixture of fear and hope, as the fate of Zephyria hung in the balance. Alex felt as though her mind was being torn apart. Visions of Zephyria's past and potential futures flashed before her eyes in a dizzying kaleidoscope. She saw Cthor's first journey to Earth, the gradual integration of his DNA into the human population, and the moment of her own birth, a cosmic convergence that had been millennia in the making. Zoran's voice cut through the chaos, dripping with malice. "You don't belong here, Earthling. Zephyria's destiny is not yours to shape." But with each attempt to dislodge her, Alex's resolve only grew stronger. She pushed back, not just with her own will, but with the combined hopes of both Earth and Zephyria. "You're wrong, Zoran," she gritted out. "I am as much a part of Zephyria as you are." Cthor's vision was never about isolation. It was about connection. The crystal flared brightly, and suddenly Alex understood. Cthor hadn't just left a legacy. He had left a failsafe. In that moment of clarity, she knew exactly what to do. "Ilara," she called out, "I need you to join us. The crystal needs the royal bloodline to fully activate." Without hesitation, Ilara rushed forward, placing her hands on the crystal alongside Alex and Zoran. The chamber erupted in a blinding light as the full power of Zephyria's history and potential coursed through the three of them. Zoran howled in rage and pain as his dark visions were overwritten by the truth of Zephyria's past and the hope for its future. The crystal pulsed once, twice, and then with a final thunderous boom, it released a wave of energy that knocked all three of them to the ground. As the light faded, Alex found herself lying on the cool crystal floor, every nerve in her body tingling. She pushed herself up, looking around wildly. Ilara was already on her feet, her midnight blue skin glowing with an inner light. And there, crumpled against the far wall, was Zoran. The usurper prince looked diminished somehow, the dark armor he wore now dull and lifeless. His eyes, when he opened them, were filled not with hatred but with confusion and fear. "What? "What have you done?" he whispered. Ilara stepped forward, her voice regal and commanding. "We have restored the truth, cousin. The crystal has shown us the path forward, and it is not one of isolation." Alex joined her, feeling a new strength flowing through her veins. "Your vision for Zephyria was based on lies and fear, Zoran. But now you've seen the truth. Our worlds are meant to be connected." Zoran shook his head, his voice broken. "But our purity, our way of life, will evolve and grow stronger through connection, not isolation," Ilara finished firmly. She turned to the entrance of the chamber, where Commander Vexolia and a contingent of loyal guards had appeared. "Take him into custody. He will stand trial for his actions." As Zoran was led away, the sounds of battle outside began to fade. Word of the usurper's defeat spread quickly, and his forces, seeing their leader captured and their cause lost, began to lay down their arms. Alex turned to Ilara, suddenly feeling the weight of everything that had happened. "Is it over?" she asked. Ilara smiled, a warm, genuine expression that lit up her face. "The battle is over, yes, but our work is just beginning." She took Alex's hand, sending a jolt of energy between them. "You've proven yourself a true heir of Cathor, Alexandra Chen. Zephyria owes you a debt that can never be fully repaid." Alex shook her head. "I only did what I felt was right, for both our worlds." "And that," Ilara said softly, "is exactly why you were meant to be here." As they exited the central crystal chamber, they found Lyra waiting for them, her wings folded and her golden eyes shining with relief. Beyond her, through the grand windows of the palace, they could see the first light of dawn breaking over the crystal city. The night of ascension had passed, and with it, the threat of eternal isolation. Now, as a new day dawned on Zephyria, the real work of building a bridge between worlds could truly begin. In the weeks following the night of ascension, Zephyria underwent a profound transformation. The crystal city, once insular and wary of outsiders, now buzzed with a new energy as news of the foiled coup and Alex's role in saving the planet spread throughout the galaxy. Alex found herself at the center of it all, working alongside Princess Ilara to reshape Zephyrian society. The central crystal, now fully activated, revealed long-hidden histories of Zephyria's past interactions with other worlds, validating Cathor's vision of interstellar cooperation. One sunny morning, Alex stood on a balcony overlooking the city, marveling at how much had changed. The crystal structures now pulsed with a rainbow of colors, reflecting the diversity of thoughts and ideas flowing through Zephyrian society. Enjoying the view, Ilara's melodious voice came from behind her. The princess joined Alex at the railing, her midnight blue skin shimmering in the sunlight. Alex smiled. "It's beautiful. I never imagined I'd see Zephyria like this." Ilara nodded, her golden eyes reflecting the city below. "None of us did. You've helped us reclaim a part of ourselves we had forgotten, Alexandra." "Please, call me Alex," she replied, feeling a warmth spread through her at Ilara's words. "And I couldn't have done it without you, or Lyra, or even Commander Vexolia." As if summoned by her words, Lyra swooped down onto the balcony, her wings folding gracefully behind her. "Speaking of the commander," she said with a grin, "he's requested your presence in the new interstellar relations chamber. Alex, something about needing your expertise on Earth customs." Alex chuckled. "Who would have thought? The same commander who once looked at me with suspicion now can't seem to make a decision without consulting the Earth expert." The three of them shared a laugh, a moment of lightness amid the weighty responsibilities they all now carried. As they made their way through the palace, Alex marveled at the changes. Zephyrians of all colors and patterns now worked alongside a small but growing number of off-world visitors. The air buzzed with multiple languages, the universal translators working overtime to facilitate communication. In the interstellar relations chamber, they found Vexolia surrounded by holographic displays of various alien species. He nodded curtly as they entered, but Alex could see the respect in his silver eyes. "Ah, good you're here," he said. "We're preparing for the first official delegation from the Galactic Council. I need your input on proper greeting protocols." As Alex dove into the details of diplomatic etiquette, she felt a surge of pride. This was why she had become a diplomat in the first place, to build bridges between cultures, to foster understanding across the stars. Hours later, as the twin suns of Zephyria began to set, Alex found herself back on the balcony. Ilara joined her, a companionable silence falling between them. "What happens now?" Alex asked softly. "My mission here, it's more or less complete." Ilara turned to her, her expression serious. "That depends on you, Alex. You've become more than just an ambassador, or even Cathor's heir. You're a symbol of what Zephyria can be, of the connection between our worlds. We would be honored if you chose to stay." Alex's heart raced at the implications of Ilara's words. She thought of Earth, of the life she had left behind. But then she looked out at the Crystal City, at the world that had become as much a home to her as the planet of her birth. "I think," she said slowly, a smile spreading across her face, "that my journey here is far from over. There's still so much to learn, so much to explore." Ilara's face lit up with joy, her skin pattern swirling with excitement. "Then let us begin this new chapter together," she said, taking Alex's hand. As the last rays of sunlight painted the Crystal City in hues of gold and purple, Alex felt a sense of belonging she had never known before. She was Alexandra Chen of Earth, heir of Cathor, diplomat of two worlds, and her greatest adventure was just beginning. In that moment, as human and Zephyrian stood side by side, the promise of a new era of galactic cooperation shimmered on the horizon, as bright and full of potential as the Crystal City itself.